Welcome and thank you for visiting. This market analysis will cover three important points. The focus will be on adult stem cells, telomeres, genes, and DNA, and how they apply to reinventing youth and also detoxifying radiation, which offers a great opportunity. The first thing we're going to cover is market timing and market demographics. Secondly, the product performance. And third, solving the problems that affect all of us: aging caused by time, lifestyle, and environmental hazards. Personally, I know that aging is inevitable, but what I never expected was having to deal with nuclear radiation fallout coming from Japan, falling on the whole world every day for many generations to come since March 11th, 2011. When we look at this segment of the population called baby boomers, you'll see in the graph there it's the people that were born between 1946 and 1964, estimates of around 77 million people. As this group of people moved through time, it created a huge demand for products and services. An example might be, as the baby boomers were growing up, they needed to go to school, so schools had to be built, teachers had to be hired. When they got through college again, they took good jobs and got married, so houses had to be built. Along with those houses and expansions, subdivisions, and roads. So people that study trends and anticipate the needs of this market have formed businesses that meet that demand, and they prospered along the way. Those that were first to market were most successful than those that entered the market towards the end of the cycle. Which brings us to the motivating factors of baby boomers. About 70% of the boomers involved, their attitudes were shaped by several significant factors, which you can stop this at any time to read those, but it could have been anywhere from the Vietnam War all the way down to probably the biggest shaping of attitudes was television. But research has shown that 70% of the people that are in this generation would like to look younger and feel younger. Most boomer males especially state that they desire to look attractive for the opposite sex, and to maintain that they would purchase anti-aging products to do so. Another term that came popular here is called materialism, which means mature materialism. Baby boomers are the most educated segment of the population, and they also have the most money. So if they have the money and they have the knowledge, they're willing to spend it on the best that they can afford. If you grew up between the 50s and the 70s, you can relate. If you didn't, ask your parents or your grandparents, and they can fill you in on what this is all about. Now let's look at business opportunities. One of the reasons that you're here is that you were invited to look at an opportunity to address a certain market. You want to look at generous compensation plans and make comparisons between different companies. Obviously, there's a lot of different things that are marketed now to this generation. You also want to look at the market, how fast it's growing, and where it's at, and if they have money to spend on these products. If the products are unique and first to market, it gives you a great advantage. And if there's power tools that can help present, train, coach, and manage fast-growing organizations, is very important to have. What is the status of the company? Are they just starting out? Are they mature and kind of tailing off? Are they a household word? Or are they just getting into momentum? The greatest amount of income is earned as the company grows into momentum, and if there's any millionaires already in the company. Obviously, we have all this and more, otherwise we wouldn't be talking. So we invite you to bring your team or the desire to build your team and join us, expecting this to be your MLM home. The only question you have to answer is, how much do you desire to be earning by your 12th month? Be generous. We can show you how. As far as perfect timing, this market was expected to be a $500 billion market within the next 5 years. We're already 2 years into that. And the anti-aging portion is $100 billion. The greatest growth is going to be in the Asia-Pacific region and North America. How many countries is the company licensed to do business in? Currently, the company is already doing business in 84 plus countries. So that means if I have an organization that grows in those areas, I get paid on every sale that generated in these countries. Now, how did we get to where we are today? In the health and nutrition world, it really started back in the 70s, when the big thing was vitamins, especially vitamin C. In the 80s, it was herbal remedies. In the 90s, antioxidants took first stage. And now in the 2000s, the discovery of adult stem cells as the body's renewal system came to the forefront, combining all of the past successes from the 70s on. When you're going to be viewing these astounding before and after pictures, you can again stop this to study them if you want to, but we're going to go very quickly through these because they tell the story. The first lady here is 57 years old, and she happens to be somebody I know. Started back in January, and in 5 months' time you can see a dramatic change. She claims that her turkey neck is far reduced and a lot of her wrinkles are gone. She was a smoker, and I think she still does a little bit. Obviously, that has a great effect on the skin. This lady here is 72 years old. we met her at a meeting, and in 10 weeks time on the program using the stem cell technology, you can see the difference in her face. The wrinkles are gone. This lady here had suffered an accident and caused a scar across her face, and this adult stem cell technology now can actually reduce scars even if they're 10 years old, and you can see the evidence there. This was somebody that got a burn on their arm, and in 7 days it's almost completely unnoticeable. This lady here had a severe skin condition, and just using 9 weeks of this adult stem cell technology, she's able to have a clear face again. This is a very brave gentleman. He wanted to use the products, use his face as a walking billboard. So on one side he used no products. On the other side, just 6 weeks of stem cell technology product applications, you can see a dramatic difference. And again, that's a very brave undertaking there. Now that we've covered the fun things, something that we mentioned back in the very beginning was radiation covering the world that's coming from Japan. This shows the atomic symbol for radiation covering the Japanese flag. And no matter how good we look on the outside, if the inside is starting to fall apart, we need to address those issues too. This is a picture of the radiation coverage over the United States on April 24th, 2011, about 6 weeks after the disaster. This was just a snapshot. This is continuing today because those nuclear plants are in meltdown stages, and they're in the ground, and radiation is being released as we speak, more than it was back in March. And you can see Michigan, you can see California, you can see Florida there on the map. This is the spectrum of radiation that we're finding here in the United States. What's most important here, the takeaway, is that radioactive particles that get into plants and animals act just like a burning ember shooting out of a fireplace onto a carpet or clothing. The embers will burn holes until they go out. Radiation particles inside your body can burn holes forever because some take years before they go out. What we're going to see next is a dramatization of how radiation affects tissue. Different. Now, after you saw that dramatization there, this is a sample of a sheep lung tissue that shows what a particle actually does in a living system. It burns just like a hot ember. Now you wonder, is the air the only place that we're going to get radiation? Well, this is a picture of the seawater impact from radiation, and it was done in October 2011, and now this is a year later, and you can imagine that it's even much worse. And what this is doing is it's affecting the food supply. If you like sushi, the seaweed comes from Japan, and it's affected by that. If you like tuna fish, that's affected by that. In fact, there was a recent picture that was published on Facebook that says the U.S. is importing food from Japan that's considered unfit to eat there. In Japan, at this point, the permissible level of food is only 100 becquerels per kilogram. In the U.S., it's 12 times more, so we are actually going to get food that's going to be more heavily contaminated. A study was done after March 11th to determine if there was any effect of the radiation on the U.S. population as far as increasing in mortality, and it was compared to a period before the Fukushima disaster. Scientists were concluding that at least 14,000 people in the U.S., mostly babies, died following the disaster than before the disaster. And the reason for that is that babies are growing rapidly. If one cell gets damaged and is supposed to turn into 1,000 cells, a bad copy will create a problem with that tissue or organ. Dr. Caldicott will explain the nuclear facts that you'd be more comfortable not knowing, and she's very clued up as a professional, and she will not be bought or intimidated into silence. So if you want to learn more about what nuclear radiation is doing to our planet, she's a good resource for that. Another resource is Loren Murray, and she will explain the disaster, how it happened in Japan, and what we can expect in the very near future. Again, you can look her up on YouTube. And this comes to the conclusion of what we were talking about as our market analysis. You can grow younger and wealthier. And basically, we have a unique first-to-market product in a growing marketplace. There are 10,000 people a day turning 65 that not only need what we have, but they have a desire. Remember the 70%? They're willing to buy anti-aging, age reversal products. And also, this market has money to pay for them. Now, because of the environmental hazard that we touched on also, the increasing radiation from Japan that we didn't have to worry about before March 11th, the elderly and families with young children are most susceptible and can be protected using product strategies that we have available. The question you have to answer to yourself is, how long can you afford to wait on this opportunity? Our company's sales went from $100 million last year to double over $200 million by our 3rd year anniversary. It won't be long before we're a $1 billion company annually. But that's not all. This year's incentive award is an all-expenses-paid Mediterranean cruise. So not only do you earn money, but get a luxury vacation for free just for sharing what we have. There have been some new consultants that have qualified for this vacation in the first 3 weeks of joining our team. To summarize this, after you've watched this video completely, simply enter your name and email address in this form to get an instant access to our website. If you decide you want to try the products out and purchase them, there's a 30-day 100% money-back guarantee. But after you've seen what we've shown, I'm counting on those people that have a heart for others that want a solid business to become our team members.